Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Lieutenant Colonel Mark Mackay. We warmly welcome the family of Captain William Johnston Knox, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL and Services Club Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Captain William Knox. Popularly known as Bill, William Johnston Knox was born on the 13th of June 1887 in the Melbourne suburb of Toorak to William and Catherine Knox. William Knox Sr. had become Secretary of the Broken Hill Proprietary shortly after it was founded and was a central figure in its growth and development. Becoming an extremely wealthy man, he entered politics and eventually became the member of Kooyong in the first Commonwealth Parliament. William Knox Jr. grew up in Melbourne with his 4 brothers and 2 sisters. At Scotch College, he was athletics champion and first head prefect. Played in the cricket first 11, captained the football team, and was dux of the school. Following his education, he went on to become the member of the Melbourne Stock Exchange, where he worked. Knox also served with the militia, securing his first commission at the age of 22 and reaching the rank of second lieutenant in the Australian Field Artillery. In May 1914, Knox married Mildred MacArthur, and the couple had a daughter, Diana, who was born on the 13th of February 1915. 2 months later, Knox was granted a commission in the Australian Imperial Force, and in June left Melbourne on the troop ship Barima as a lieutenant in the 2nd Field Artillery Brigade. On the 30th of August 1916, Lieutenant Knox boarded the troop ship Southland, bound for Gallipoli. 3 days later, the vessel was torpedoed by a German submarine in the Aegean Sea. Almost all aboard, including Lieutenant Knox, survived the experience. Knox went on to serve on Gallipoli until the evacuation in December, returning to Egypt as the AIF underwent a major restructure and effectively doubled in size. As part of the reorganisation in February 1916, Knox was posted to the 50th Battery of the 13th Field Artillery Brigade. Shortly afterwards, he was promoted to temporary captain, a rank which was confirmed before he left to join the fighting on the Western Front. Within weeks of arriving in France, Knox's battery, part of the 5th Division Artillery, saw major action at the disastrous Battle of Fromelles. The division took over 5,000 casualties and was effectively incapacitated for months afterwards. It was not until October 1916 that it joined the other Australian divisions in the Somme in extreme winter conditions. While in France, Knox was able to take leave, reuniting with his wife and daughter on a few occasions. Miriam had taken her daughter and temporarily located to Cairns in the south of France, so they could see William when he was on leave or visit him at the hospital if he was wounded. In early March 1917, Knox was granted the rank of temporary major, commanding a battery until the end of May. At this time, the 5th Division was involved in the closing stages of the Second Battle of Bullecourt. In June, Knox's battery was still in the Bullecourt area when it was heavily shelled by the enemy. A direct hit on one of the guns set the camouflage netting above them on fire. This threatened to set their ammunition store ablaze and risked all lives all nearby. Knox and another man rushed to put the flames out, despite the great personal risk and ongoing shell fire, saving the ammunition from exploding. For his conspicuous gallantry and devotion to duty, he was later awarded the Military Cross and was mentioned in dispatches. Knox's battery later moved to Belgium. On the 19th of August 1917, Knox was standing by a dugout at Minnan Road, near Ypres, talking to 3 other officers when a shell landed amongst them. He was severely wounded in the chest and left leg. He was carried quickly to a casualty clearing station and operated on, but his wounds were too severe. He unfortunately died the following morning. Captain William Knox was given a funeral and buried at the new military cemetery in Belgium by members of his battery, one of whom afterwards stated, "He was universally liked by everyone. He had the heart of a lion. He sent a message to the battery with his love when he was dying." William Knox was 30 years old. His daughter, Diana, was barely 3 when her father died, and reportedly was never able to bring herself to read the letters that he addressed to her mother, Mim, and to her. but these have been passed down through the family and cherished for many years. William Knox's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among more than 60,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Captain William Knox, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall not grow old as we that left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. For at the going down of the sun and in the morn, we shall remember them. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.